Okay, so firstly, hello, Mr. Hussein. I'm Praise Anushruthi, and I'm studying in Asia Pacific University. I'm doing my degree. And so, firstly, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for agreeing to have the interview with us. And okay, so my final year, this is required for my final year thesis project. So, my topic is on how does technology affects the practices in VFX?
Okay.
And if it does, how and why does it? Why does it affect the practices in VFX? So, and I happen to have come for your workshop the other day. I'm so thankful because I got to see that you have a lot of knowledge in few of these. Main softwares that you teach, and you're an instructor and a trainer. So that was really what I was inspired by, and why I wanted to interview you. So one of my main case studies that I've taken is from Avatar, and so the technology they use in Avatar is motion capture. Have you heard of motion capture? Yeah. Okay. So in that, it's so how it is. What do you say?
Done.
Done. Yes. How it's done is by putting those small tiny equipment on the faces of the actors, and then the data is transferred into the 3D models or things that are not real, of course. So that's how they manage to get a very unreal world of Pandora and all that. So that's what I'm focusing on. So just like a few questions, not only on that, but regarding VFX. So what do you think? Do you think it will be difficult to imagine today's generation without the present technology? Do you think it will be difficult?
Without the
Present technology, yeah, be it anything. It can be phones or it can be
in
filming.
Yeah, okay. Right. Thank you for coming over and talking to us.
Sure.
It's a pleasure of mine to talk to students like yourselves, in fact, your colleagues as well. Talking about technology, yes, if you compare it to back in the 80s, the 90s, and now the 2000s, we call it, has changed so much. And I would say that the film industry has a lot of input in bringing up the technology for our current motion pictures and all that. One of it I can remember is Mr. James Cameron.
Yes.
So he has done a lot since Titanic days until now. He is a trendsetter. If you compare Avatar and what we see recently, he came with Alita, the Battle Angel. The technology has changed so much in the span of 10 years. We have seen a lot of improvements, things becoming faster. So going forward, in your case, because you're studying now at the moment, things will change rapidly.
Definitely.
Because the computers are getting faster, softwares are getting better, people are becoming smarter thanks to YouTube and stuff like that. You can learn things in a matter of minutes now, compared to those days you take weeks and months to learn stuff. Now you just go to YouTube, just type in the word, the keyword, and then you can start learning. So in the future, learning is going to change. The technology is going to change. I would say probably in the future, a lot of this learning will be done online. Students will not have to go to lectures anymore. They probably need to go for lectures for discussion purposes, assignment, and discuss about some issues that they can overcome. But learning itself is going to be online, and you can learn anywhere and anytime. So this is the good part. This is the part I love about technology, right? Things become faster, better. This is the reason why what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I answered your question. So maybe you can ask me the next question.
Yes. Okay. So next one is: would you agree that visual effects has not only made its mark in films, but even in the gaming industry and various other industries? But would you agree to that?
Yes, definitely. If you have seen the last few years, the gaming industry and the VFX on the film industry as a whole has become closer and closer together. Okay, from gaming we get the thing of interactive, and for film we see cinematics. So both of these are now combined. If you notice, most of the games now and most of the movies now, they are using each other's technology. Real-time rendering is a thing that it comes from the gaming industry. Unity and things like UE4, Unreal Engine 4 are using real-time. We've been doing real-time for the last few years, and now directors, movie makers are now realized that this engine can be used. In fact, in Star Wars, one of the Star Wars movies, they used I think it was the Rogue One.
Okay.
They used real-time render engine, and they did a comparison, of using real-time cinematics by people who are doing post-production, and also the real-time engine. They couldn't see the difference. I couldn't see the difference. It was so much realistic that they start using this already. And then this is good because it saves time, it saves money, saves resources as well.
Yes. Okay. And the next one is, now since a major, as you were saying, like so many things can be done digitally now because of technology. Would you think that in the future, since a whole film now can just be done like on a computer and digitally, would you think that that would be a fallout for actors? Because now we can just like create a 3D model and then put in the data or whatever, and then so do you think like for actors it would be a fallout, that it's a downside for them, or will it still continue?
I don't think so. But if you since the history of movies last 100 years, things have not changed much in the sense of what you see in the screen. Yes, CGI is there and all that, but actors, we still want to see them. We love our favorite actors, and we want to see them. Sometimes perhaps in the future they will revive the dead actors if we want to see them, like Marilyn Monroe or whoever. We have the technology to do that now. We can, in fact, the Fast and Furious movies also, the guy died halfway in filming, but they managed to bring him back by doing the facial capture kind of stuff now. So I doubt that will change. We will still want to see our favorite characters or favorite actors, but it's going to become much more easier to have actors, instead of having stuntmen, they use actors to do their own stunts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Okay. And what is the difference? Because previously they used to use special effects and now they use visual effects. Do you know the differences between actually special effects and visual?
Many of my students have asked me this, and I've also talked to people about this. The difference between special effects and visual effects. Special effects is the effects that they do it during the production, during shooting, which means your the fire, smoke, rain, and all that stuff. Sometimes all this is hard to produce in post-production. They will do it in during shooting, especially pyrotechnics like explosions and all that. They look more realistic if you do it real time instead of so it depends on the movie maker, it depends on the director. Some directors, they prefer to do it pyrotechnics. They do it on the spot. They use makeup, prosthetics, makeup.
Yes.
Prosthetics, yeah. Thank you. Use that in but now they do it in visual effects as well. So it's either one of them. So visual effects is done after. So VFX is post processing. SFX is during.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Okay, that's interesting. And then, so do you think there's a marked difference? Like, is there a difference in audience when they are viewing visual effects in films? Like, do you think there would be people that would rather prefer watching a movie with absolutely no VFX in it, or is it come to a point now that movies, they enjoy watching movies only with visual effects?
Another good question. Actually, we don't need visual effects.
We don't.
Yeah, the reason why because if you're back in the 30s, 40 years ago, there were hardly any visual effects. They had practical effects though, like the sets and all that were created. If you go back to the Star Wars 1977, the first Star Wars movie, all that was done using actual objects, and then the cameras were moved around them. Those were the days where the art was art. It was really art. You do carpentry, you cut this, you cut that, you put things together. It takes a long time to make a movie. But now we have visual. The reason why we have visual effects, to me, in my opinion, it should be used for is actually to make things safer for people, and cheaper as well. So if you shoot green screen, that means you don't have to go to that wherever you want to go. But it should be used interchangeably. You use practical effects and use visual effects. So that'll be a better enjoyment for when you go and see a movie.
Watching movies. Yes. Okay, the next one is, would you, that question, would you personally be able to go and sit and watch a movie that is fully digitally made, like, for example, just as Avatar? And would you enjoy it knowing that everything is, just imaginary, it's not real, it's of course fake? Would you be able to go and sit and enjoy it, or would you prefer again?
It all depends on the story. Like if you see the movie 300, Most of it was shot against green screen, but the movie, I mean, I'm talking the first 300, yeah? It was nice. The storyline was nice. So it all depends on how the storyteller is telling the story and the storyline as well. 300 was good, but episode 1 was awful because it's all green screen, but the storyline wasn't there. So that's how you compare. I think it's more important about the storyline.
Yes. And next is, what would you think are the reasons that movies like this cross the box office and earn so much money? What would you think are a few main reasons that movies, I mean, say for example 300 and now Alita, all these visual effects movies, Interstellar for example, like it went to such a point where, I mean, they cross the box office and they make a lot of money. Again, is it because of like technology, or is it the actors, again the story? What would you think play?
Okay, interesting because I think the main thing, in my opinion, is a story. It could be a story about a person sitting in a room and just by himself. I've seen those kind of movies, but they're very interesting. We are very intrigued to see what happened next. So it just could be one actor in one place, but the story is like so interesting that we want to sit and throughout the movie. It could be another part. It could be another movie which is going to have 1,000 actors, a lot of visual effects, i.e. Transformers. I don't want to say any further, but it all depends on how good the storyteller is and how they're telling the story. I enjoy that kind of story. I don't enjoy visual effects so much anymore. But visual effects, it's important thing because we need to have that. It cut costs down, and then it make things. It makes the storytelling interesting as well. Because sometimes when you shoot in space, you talk about space, outer space, and all that. We can't always go to space and shoot, right? So we have to do something like a visual effects and green screen stuff like that. But it's using the tool to tell a story.
Yes. And so, what, in your opinion, what is the fastest developing technology in the industry? It can be maybe gaming or film industry, if you know anything that is used in...
At the moment, in my research, what I'm doing now, I think the fastest technology that is very exciting about is real-time rendering. Because it takes hours and weeks and months to render a certain certain shot footage and all that. If you have, it's heavily CGI based, so that takes a lot of resources, time, and money. So now with real time, it really cuts down a lot of time, cuts down a lot of expenses and all that kind of stuff. But that's really exciting. But I hope with this they do not overuse it, like making too many movies that we can't watch. At the moment I can see that there's a movies coming out every week, and I don't know which one to watch, and it's so it's getting very to me it's getting too much. But I hope they cut down and also try and see whether they can come up with something which is more enjoyable to watch.
Okay. And again, I think I mentioned about motion capture. Motion capture saves actors, the time and money that goes into in-depth makeup, like you were saying, prosthetics and stuff like that. Would you agree that motion capture is a good technology, based on that, because it saves time?
Yeah, of course. In any movie you see now, they have some sort of motion capture, or they call it performance capture. It's important because one thing, the movement looks very realistic, and then we don't have to use much on animation, hand animation. That will look a bit fake sometimes for motion capture. Again, it all depends on the situation, right? Like if you are trying to animate animals, obviously it's very hard to tell animals to act. So they will use a person and then convert him into an animal or something like that. That is more is how it should be used for.
Yes, that's so interesting. Okay, and is it really the case that nowadays the films that are being produced is better received by people that that is not much of VFX? Like I know previously I asked almost the same question, but is it like the people rather prefer not much of VFX in movies now, since every movie has visual effects? Or is it that some studios and some directors or producers simply just can't adjust to modern day filming, no, they prefer the traditional way of just let it be real, like I don't want to add things that are not real,
so again, it's subtlety, subtle. You have to be subtle. You don't have to show that you can do visual effects. It has to be there just to help you tell a story. Right? You don't have to like put bombs and rain that you can do it, but doesn't mean that you have to do it.
Yeah.
So if you just use it tastefully and just to tell a story, that'll be even better.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people know it's visual effects.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about CGI. Even my mom and dad, oh, this is blue screen and green screen.
Yes.
They know that, right?
Yeah.
So the idea now is not to show that.
Correct.
So it becomes more like invisible effects instead of visual effects.
Visual effects.
Yeah.
Yes, so true. Yes. Okay, my last question. So thank you so much. What do you think is the future for VFX in the film industry?
Okay. The future is going to be good.
Yeah.
A lot of technology being used.
Yeah.
As I said just now, it's going to be things are going to make things are going to go very fast. To produce a movie is going to be cheaper
Yeah.
in a way, and a lot of the I would say factory jobs, i.e. rotoscoping and tracking, all these are going to be taken over by robots, by machine learning and machine language and all that stuff. So if you are going to the visual effects industry now, think about becoming a person who can decide on things. If you are not a decision maker, if you just go in there and they will ask you to do, you rotoscope these 10 shots,
Yeah.
that can be done by a robot now.
Oh,
When I say robot, means softwares.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Even now they are coming up with cameras which you can shoot you, and then they can do rotoscoping straight away. So rotoscoping is probably going to be a dying technology. So you need to become a person who can do decisions, because robots cannot decide at the moment. So if you are a decision maker, then you get a job.
Yeah. Okay.
If you are going out there and you become another factory worker, I would say, your job is not going to be secure. It's not going to be there for quite. In a short while.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to disappear.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah?
True. Thank you so much.
You're
This
welcome,
really
Praise.
meant a lot.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Right.
And I appreciate all the knowledge that you just gave me.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
that's it. Thank
My
you.
pleasure.